Welcome to the Dingus Den for a brand new Mutant Club, where this time we're talking about the limited series Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, written by Chris Claremont. As we continue more of this Chris Claremont journey, I've already did a video covering Wolverine, and so this is kind of a little follow up to that. But you know what? Let's get right on into this.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
All right, welcome to the Dingus Den. This time I'm joined by a brand new face. It's Chris. Another Chris. This is funny. So I just talked about that. I already covered the original Wolverine miniseries like a few weeks ago. And that is I was joined by another Chris, who's been a good friend of mine for several years now. He's essentially because of him why I started this whole channel here. But now I'm joined by a new Chris. And so good to have you here. We're somebody that we've known each other mainly through just talking to each other a lot on Twitter or X, or as I like to call it, Twix.
And that's a good one, Twix. I like that.
So yeah, and I know we've talked about doing a little trying to do something, and then here we are to finally do something, which is cool. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, I just want to briefly get into like what your experience with comics are, personal favorite comics, favorite characters.
Cool. Well, first, thanks for having me on. It's always fun to do these things because I see them just like hanging out with friends, so it works for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't actually start like really reading comics until around 2005, but I was always aware of them because like I grew up with like Pride of the X-Men, the VHS that was out. I think I would just watch that, rewind it, and watch it again. So X-Men has always been a big deal for me. And of course, Batman is my number one.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Batman's my thing. But Batman and X-Men are my favorites. They've just always been. And I love X-Men, the animated series. I think that show is just phenomenal, which, is the opinion of most people. I also really like X-Men Evolution. And I don't think a lot of people have watched it, but I also really love Wolverine and the X-Men.
That one was a good one from what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. And as far as comics go, I read a lot of Batman, clearly. Long Halloween would be my favorite there.
Yes.
Long Halloween is just a standard. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we've been doing something fun here on the channel where starting last Halloween, we've been doing these voice comic dubs, essentially.
I've seen
these. Yeah. And so as of the time of recording this, it'll already be out by the time this video drops for everyone. But the Valentine's Day is coming out. And so, but yeah, those have been a lot of fun, and I love Long Halloween so much. But yeah, that's my favorite Batman story too. It's like
it's classic.
It's the best one. Yeah,
I feel like it's everything you love about Batman in a single story.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you get all the characters, so it's really a who's who. And like, if anybody ever asks me, what do I read? Where do I start? I hand them this is what you do. Read Long Halloween.
Yeah. It really is a great place to start, and so yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, that's cool. So yeah, just like you, X-Men has been something I've really loved for a long time. Wolverine was always a big standout character for me. He was like that hero that I've latched onto since an early age, and I've never let hold of that grip from Wolverine. He's still been awesome. 100%. He's always been my favorite Marvel hero, and Same. So he's great. And so this new series here, or this classic series here, I've actually been going through and reading through Claremont's X-Men. And so part of the reason why I suggested this one to you specifically is because I was looking and I realized, oh, this is coming up for me soon. Because I've been trying to read like one issue a day between like his X-Men, his New Mutants, whatever miniseries comes up, such as Wolverine. There's Magic that I also did a video over. And so this one, I saw this one coming up. I was like, oh, it's kind of just good timing to do this one,
Mhm.
especially as it's known to be a classic story. Kind of not. Like, it very much does kind of work as its own story, but then also does follow up a little bit on what happened in the first Wolverine series. But what's important about this, though, is that it's called Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. And it's interesting when you think about this because this comic came out in what, 1983?
84.
84. Okay.
Yeah.
So so it's interesting because during modern times, you would think that they'd always want to put Wolverine in the forefront with him being the biggest character. And funny enough, they did do a sequel miniseries to this, which Chris Claremont wrote called Wolverine and Kitty Pryde.
Mhm.
But it's interesting to just look at how then back then when these two characters were more equals to each other. And it is also more of a Kitty Pryde story than a Wolverine story, which is interesting
For
to
sure.
see.
It's also a different Wolverine too. Like
Yeah,
Logan is, I don't want to say he's depowered, but he is not the juggernaut that we know today.
yeah, yeah.
The one we know today would not have stopped in the story. He would just kept on going. This guy needs breaks, you know?
It's interesting to see the evolution of Wolverine.
Yes.
And this is just how Wolverine was back then. Not that that was a bad thing. It's just how the character was. And he had all these different connections. And we'll get into some of that here in the story because they're just interesting to see how they handled him in this. And so, but yeah, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the story, though, what did you think of it overall? And do you have like any sort of like expectations? Is this a story that you were really familiar with?
So overall, I wasn't actually familiar with the story. I'd heard about it, but I hadn't read it. As much as I love old comics, I have a weird love for the art and everything. I just think they're fun. You don't see this kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But I hadn't read this one. Most of my classic X-Men reading is, giant size, things like that. So getting to this, I didn't have much of an expectation other than I've heard it's cool. So I'm going to check it out. And of course, if it's got Wolverine in it, I'm usually there.
Oh yeah, Wolverine's easy sell. So
he's and him and Kitty together just works for me. Him like mentoring characters is always fun. I don't care who it is. Stick him with a Wendigo like we saw recently, and it's still fun.
Oh yeah, I did enjoy that. That was cool.
Yeah, that was different. I liked it.
Yeah. So, and I liked it too. Having a focus on Kitty Pryde, which we really don't get much nowadays. I know they've done a bit of different things with her, like in the Krakoan era. I don't know necessarily what she's been up to currently. I don't completely keep up with the current X-Men stuff other than
I've given up.
yeah, there's a lot.
I read the Wolverine stuff because it's I can handle that. The extra things, no, it's too much.
They do a lot, which does kind of hurt them, but that's neither conversation here or there. But Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, though, it was a cool story, and I think it is overall a nice self-contained story. So let's just right into this, which it begins with seeing Kitty Pryde, where she's goes into her like father's business here, and this we get a little bit of her family dealings. A lot of her family troubles that she deals with in the mainline X-Men is more of she knows her parents are getting divorced at one moment, and she's having a bunch of trouble of having to deal with that because she's not there for him because she's off busy at Xavier's school, obviously. So one of the reasons that stood out to me about this is with her getting involved into her father's business here. And we're getting to get to know her family a little, at least a side of her family a little bit more. Which I like seeing that. It's always cool when you can get these character focused stories and being able to expand on something that was really referenced. And now we're getting to actually this is we're getting able to see this aspect now than something I was just talking about.
I like the expansion on it, and I like that it adds some depth to Kitty because you made a good point. Like now, I don't know what she's doing in comics, but I don't even in other comics pre-Krakoa and everything. I don't think she really received a lot of depth. She's always just kind of
Mm,
there,
yeah.
and it's not a dig on the character. I think the character's
Mhm.
great. We just don't get a
Yeah.
lot of her, and when we do, she's already Shadowcat.
Yeah.
She's doing
It,
Shadowcat stuff.
yeah. It's really one of those things too that when I mainly think of her, like I just think of her like all the stuff that Claremont has done with her,
Mhm.
and I'm not as familiar with the stuff that she is in like afterwards. I don't know if there's really is anything as much memorable that they've even done with the character afterwards either. I don't know. If anybody knows, comment down below. I'd be curious to know what other big stuff that she's like really involved in that
Mhm.
she could have a big, role in. So, but Claremont stuff is known as the gold standard for X-Men. And part of that, going back to what's going on in here, is we're seeing a lot of these shady people involved with her father's business and seeing him barging in on this deal that uh, is looking bad for him. And so he's having to go off to Japan. She gets into a plane and makes her way there.
I thought
Uh,
this was funny. This bit was
yeah,
fun where she's like trying to not phase into the luggage and whatnot.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
I do like how they get into like some of the like part of the logistics of it in a way. Like I like that they go into like her powers of phasing and everything. There's a bad side to it, right? You have to be
Mhm.
careful with that, and they really are able to delve into that a bit into the series too, which I appreciated seeing. And so, but yeah, she gets on a plane. She's able to escape it, and she's trying to figure out where in the world is her father at here in Tokyo. Just truly,
You
wants
know, this is just like 80s fun to me because you think
yeah,
about it, she's supposed to be 15 years old and she's dropped in a big city. It's like, how do I find my father in this giant city? And
yeah,
we should kind of go through the motions. Oh, I'll go there. It's just a very 80s thing to me.
yeah. I could definitely see that. Uh, yeah, for sure.
This could have been a movie and would have been hilarious, I think.
Yeah, it definitely would have been a movie that would have fit very well for back then.
Another thing that I didn't realize about Kitty is that she can airwalk. I didn't know this till
Yes,
I reading this. Maybe I
yes.
just hadn't paid attention to her before as much, but
They did set this up at one point in the main X-Men at one point. Like I don't
hmm.
remember exactly how long before this, but yeah, it's a thing that she can do that they did set up in that. And then yeah, like it's cool. I like how I really don't think anything that we've really seen of Kitty Pryde on screen has really fully done her justice.
No,
And so it's nice seeing that, this gives her respect all on her own.
they put respect on her name.
They do put respect on her name.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so she enters this building, and trying to figure out exactly, she's just trying to figure out exactly what's going on, uh, as just trying to figure out her way around and, causing trouble in Tokyo.
Like you
Like,
do.
yeah, like you do. And as he said, it is just fun here. And she ends up calling, uh, back to Xavier School where Wolverine ends up picking up and he's like, well, that was odd. Sounded a lot like Kitty, but okay.
What catches me about this especially is Wolverine is always smoking in this book. He's
Oh, yeah,
constantly got
yeah,
a cigarette or a cigar, whatever that's supposed to be. And in
yeah.
this shot, he's actually wearing a crop top, which is even funnier. This is why I love
Yeah,
80s art. It's just or older art. It's just so wacky a lot of the time.
yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's funny. Well, it always cracks me up too, like on the similar point of how he's always wearing that, like, once Wolverine actually gets to Japan, and this will be highlighted in a bit, like, he's always wearing that, like, outfit.
He's always ready to
That
go.
just Yeah, he's always ready to go for it. But, like, his Japanese attire outfit, I don't know, like, what that Japanese gown is called.
Yeah, I'm not
What
sure.
that's called. Kimono,
Yeah, is it a
well,
kimono? Is that
is it
considered a
a
kimono?
I don't know. It was just the first anyway, whatever that is. We'll show it up shortly here, but it does end with Kitty finding her father and his other sort of boss person, as well.
Ra's al Ghul looking guy.
He is kind of like that.
And her father reminds me of a Hellfire character, Hellfire Club, but he's not.
Yeah, I was really, when I first saw those characters, with all those different characters with the father, I really did think it was Hellfire Club.
Mhm.
Is that is something Claremont has been doing a lot since fairly early on, and I love the Hellfire Club.
I do
mean,
too.
He does a great, he does such a great job with them. But at the same time, I think it's also kind of refreshing to have a shady organization that's not them than it always being the Hellfire
Mhm.
Club every time. Especially having something that's based in Japan too. It's interesting. There's some interesting choices to be made to bring the characters to this place. So, but yeah. So as we get more into this, issue 2, where you know what, gotta highlight this cover. I love this cover here. There's some really cool
It's
covers.
nice. All these
Yeah.
covers are nice, and I think what makes them kind of stand out is that they always have like this split thing going on,
Yeah.
and they don't even like technically match what's going on in the book sometimes,
No.
but they're still nice.
It's just cool. It's just a
Yeah.
cool cover. What more can you ask for sometime?
That's all I want a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's exactly. Sometimes I'm annoyed when the covers like reveal the big thing that happens in like the last 2-3 pages of the book, and it's like, okay, like you sold me
Yeah.
with the cover, and then you don't even get to it till the end. It's like, okay,
You're like, this cover's total nonsense. That ninja isn't even in the
Yeah.
book.
yeah, right. It's just like it works though. I like it.
Mhm.
So anyway, Kitty comes in and she's like, "Oh, Dad, I need to save you. There's people here." He's like, "No, you're
I am
not
one of these people.
right. I am one of these people." And here we get to like learn their influence and like rule over everyone here, which is interesting. And we see her try to escape, but the oh gosh, what was his name? The Ogun, I think his name.
I
was?
wasn't even gonna try. I'm glad you did it first.
Fair enough. I think it was Ogun. We see constantly chase her. You know what this reminded me of a lot? I don't remember their name. I always forget the organization's name, but in Spider-Man, the people that
Mr. Negatives.
that Mr. Negative's group lead, I never remember what their name is. I don't know why I can never remember their name, yet I mention them like all the time.
Well, the thing was called Demon's Breath. I know that. Were they called demons?
I think it was like the something demons, maybe, or the demon something.
The
I don't know.
negative demons. That sounds
No,
cool.
that's not it. I know that's not it, but I do like that. Anyway, yeah, it bugs me. I want to look at
That mask does remind me of them, though. That's a good
Yes,
call.
it is. It is very cool looking. The other thing that this samurai kind of reminded me of, and I didn't get the vibes of this character until near, specifically, I think the last issue
Mhm.
was, you remember in the Shang-Chi movie how there was like this one, you won't remember the
Yeah,
movie too much, but
that
like he's
main
there.
ninja.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of him. I don't
Kinda,
remember
yeah.
who that one is either, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've only seen the movie once. I liked it, but I've only seen it once.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, and this character specifically is really interesting though, because we see him drug Kitty,
Mhm.
and then we see Wolverine starting to go to Japan, which this I found interesting because it seemed like he was just kind of. For me, I guess it seemed like there wasn't a little bit of a reach for why he went to Japan. I don't know. Did you feel that way?
It felt convenient, but at the same time,
Sure.
okay, he knows it's Kitty. He's gonna go see what's going
Sure.
on. He's
Yeah.
gonna go light up a cigarette and walk into the airport. That's Wolverine.
Fair enough. And so, but yeah, they always have to bring together the character somehow. And so,
I do feel like, and we'll get to this more toward the end. I don't know if this needed 6 issues, but we'll get to that.
I think that is very fair. I enjoyed this story, but I also did feel like a bit of it was drawn out. Like maybe it could have been tighter if it was 5 issues or something,
Even 4, maybe.
Maybe. you know, the original Wolverine miniseries had fantastic pacing throughout the whole thing. Like that miniseries is amazing. Anyone that hasn't read the that original Chris Claremont, Frank Miller Wolverine miniseries, go read that. Like that's the first Wolverine thing you probably should read. Either that or when you actually first joins the X-Men if you want all the X-Men together. And that's
the Weapon X book is great too.
I haven't gotten into reading that yet.
It's a good time.
Anything. I hope anything with Wolverine is. But yeah, I have heard the really good things about that too, actually. But yeah, and it's interesting too because something I was talking about with that first Wolverine miniseries was like he was part of a team for a long time before he even got a solo book, and in a way, this is like his second solo book. Well, kind of. It's shared technically, and it still is more of a Kitty book, but his title's still on. His name's still on the title there.
He's like a guest star in it. I would say like a guest because it really is Kitty's story, but he's a big part of it.
He is a huge part of it, and so that is a good way to put it. But I really like the things that we get with Kitty here during this. I would say this is one of the highlight issues. If not, I think issues 2 and 3 were actually my favorite ones out of this. 2 here I thought had a lot of great stuff here, especially with seeing this Ogun character I thought was very interesting. Because we see him I'm trying to think of the right word here, but he's able to like do all these things to Kitty and then bend her to his will. And it's really interesting how he does that here, because here he both in like a physical and metaphorical sense strips her down and just leaves her here. Like we can even see he cuts off the majority of her hair, so she's now stuck with the short hair here. And it's then interesting as well where I didn't completely understand how all this worked, but there's
same. I was actually I had to read this part a couple of times because I was really confused. And when he throw this baby in,
she gets like DH to this baby, and then we're seeing this whole bit where she's getting trained from the ground up. How I interpret it, at least after thinking about it a little bit, is that it's one of those things where this story is obviously in the perspective of Kitty, right? And what it is that he's able to do these weird mind manipulation powers somehow. I don't think we ever got an answer exactly on what it was, but
I think he's a mutant.
It would make sense.
That's the impression I got. This is just another mutant.
Yeah, they may have had like one line of them being recognized, like, yeah, he's one of us or something. But if there was, it was like very throwaway.
Yeah.
But anyway, with I guess what his power in this case is though, is he's able to make other people see things in a way like it. Because I didn't think that she actually got de-aged. I think it was a sense of where he made her think that she was reliving her life, and thus that's how he was able to train her into what then turns into making Kitty Pryde his new personal assassin. And we're seeing all these training sequences here as she's learning how to use all these weapons here. So it's interesting to see how all this.
I kind of saw it as like after reading it and like, okay, I get it now. Like in her mind, she's being reborn as this badass ninja assassin, and this is the training montage that we would have got, where she's learning all these skills and stuff. But of course, it is all in her head.
Yeah,
it's like Scarecrow with fear gas. That's kind of what I got out of it. And this guy did have some type of smoke, or whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, definitely something you just kind of like breathe into it. And that's the other thing too is. Yeah, it'd be interesting to, I guess, learn more of exactly what it is, because you would think that he'd be able to use it more than to just train somebody in this way, but I don't know. Because it seems like the implication of what we're talking about, if he's able to do this, theoretically, wouldn't you think he'd be able to do more in some ways? Than
he does control her a little bit, too.
A little. But I think that's part of the same bit, though.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. It's one nacho.
Yeah. They don't get too deep into exactly what it is. They just go into, oh, he's able to control her, and
And
yeah.
not to harp on this, but for the record, it's 6 issues. I think we could have spared a panel to explain what this guy does exactly.
That I think that is extremely fair. But so we do get more of a bit with Tokyo. I love here this bit with Wolverine and Tokyo here,
Mhm.
where that boss that we met earlier, this Ra's al Ghul, as you were calling him. Yeah, he is kind of similar to Ra's. Wannabe Ra's al Ghul. I don't remember his name. Uh
I can't pronounce it. I'm not even gonna try. So he's race to me.
Fair enough. I'm just bad with remembering any names. So
That's fair.
but I love this bit here where he goes into his office, knows somebody's in his chair, and it's just dark, and we see the two snickets there, and the claws come out. I love it. And seeing Wolverine's shadow there, like, you obviously know it's Wolverine, it's a shadow of him there.
It's
And
so
then
cool.
Wolverine reveals himself here. It's an epic Wolverine reveal moment, and he's there, meaning, oh, it's time for business. So that's
And
epic.
and this costume is my favorite Wolverine look.
Yeah, it's a really good one. It's the classic brown Wolverine. It's a
I
good
think it's
one.
his best look. I know the yellow and blue or the tiger stripe is really popular, and I like that one too. But to me,
Yeah.
this is Wolverine.
I for me personally, I would say this is high up there, but for me personally, I think like the look that he has in the animated series is what I consider.
The tiger, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. I love that one. That's probably my second, and then X Force would be the third for me.
He has a lot of good looks.
He's only got a few bad ones.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. There's not many outfits that doesn't work for him.
Yeah, there's only a few bad ones.
Yeah. But yeah. So and here's a bit more of the
This
cool.
one is cool too.
Yeah, we get some really awesome training sequences. I feel like in that original Wolverine miniseries, we got a lot of action that was elevated, like
Mhm.
compared to what was before. I think that's part of like what made that series great is you had Chris Claremont's writing, and then being able to combine it with Frank Miller's art was just amazing back then. As Frank Miller back then, he was pushing the boundaries for what like action and like what you can do in a comic. And
Mhm.
you can see, I feel like especially with a lot of these panels, I don't remember who the artist is for this. I'll look here in a moment.
It's Alex something, I think.
Okay, yeah, I'll check at the beginning of
Yeah.
next issue. But uh, I feel like I could tell a lot of inspiration though that I feel like he took from Frank Miller's work in that first Wolverine miniseries into
Mhm.
this, which is really cool to just see them continue that sense of familiarity, and also like just seeing these great page layouts and action sequences done still that was kind of made more in the forefront because of Frank Miller. So, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
great
nice to
stuff.
see it carry on, and it doesn't really lose a step, in my opinion. And the
No,
cool thing about this art, like Frank Miller's, is it has like it's a sequence kind of thing, and you could follow along and you get it. Which
yeah,
a lot of modern art does not do that anymore. It's
sure,
just here's a page of this, here's this. This actually flows. Like even this is a really good example. It's flowing together.
yes. The artist is Alan Milgrom.
That was
Um,
close.
you, yeah, halfway there, right?
Mhm.
Um, Not a name I'm familiar with right off him, but like I said, I'm also bad with names. There's a lot of times that I'll like look up an artist, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I know a bunch of these things
I
that
do that
he's
all the time.
attached to, and so there's just so many great talents in the world of comics, and it's hard to keep up with all of them, especially outside of the major names like Chris Claremont and all that.
Mhm.
So, but um, let's get into issue 3 though, where we then get to see the return of, oh my god, what's her name?
Yukio.
Yukio.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yukio.
Yukio back. Another big character from that Wolverine miniseries. Seeing her back here as being a major player, which I like seeing her back in this, and seeing her and Wolverine back. And we also do see some Enrico as well later on. So, harkening back a little bit to that Wolverine miniseries. Like I said, in case you can't tell, knowing that is even though we said this is standalone, knowing that story is still fairly important to this story, though. And so go read that. Go check out the video I did on that.
The
Also,
cool thing about them being connected, though, is like you don't have to read that because you can understand this perfectly fine by itself
yeah,
because it is so exposition heavy.
yeah,
Like they repeat things multiple times. Like, oh, okay, I got it the
they
first
do.
time.
Yeah, a lot, and that was just another thing of like that's just how comics were back then, and where they
Mhm.
did that all the time. Like it stood out to me specifically when they did the recap of everything in issue 6, when it's
Yes.
like, okay, interesting that they put a recap, I guess, at the beginning of issue 6 when like that's the end, and it's like it would really be beginning at 6, but okay. You know,
I kind of like it though because it was new user friendly. You know.
yeah. No, it's one of those things that I find it interesting of from the perspective of if somebody was to just randomly read the last issue, okay, they'd be caught up with it. But it's at the same time, it's like, why would you go for a last issue versus if it's something ongoing? I understand that because you always want to try to have people to step in wherever
Mhm.
you are at in a you know 500 run series. So, but yeah, I don't know, interesting choices and all
Lots, but I get
that.
it.
Yeah. And part of it too is it's just different. That's how comics were 40 plus years ago, which is interesting to see how they were back then and so different than now. And no disrespect to how they were then or to how they are now. I just like seeing the different eras and talk about the different eras and all that.
I think it's a good time, especially
Yeah.
if you do the comparison. Like, okay, this would have worked then, but not now, and vice versa. And
Yeah.
like the recaps, we just don't get them as much anymore.
No, we don't. Um, yeah.
This
But
costume looks awesome here.
I
And again, this
do
is that
love
sequence kind of action.
yeah, it's great here getting stuff with Wolverine and he's getting ambushed here. And I mean, I think us as a reader, we obviously knew who it was.
Yeah.
But I did love this action specifically. Like I think this was my favorite bit of the action throughout the whole series
Oh,
was
I think by
doing
far.
this. Yeah, it was
And
so
then
good.
him like going into the dumpster was
Yeah,
just kind
yeah,
of neat.
yeah. And we're getting and we get like the side plot line too with Yukio and um that big guy.
Shuma, I think was his name.
I don't remember.
Shuma.
uh
He's
yeah,
a
I don't
sumo
remember.
wrestler.
Yeah, sumo wrestler dude. So get into there, and we get some pretty cool action with them too here.
This whole issue is like really good action though.
It really is like it
This
is
might be
just
my favorite issue.
yeah. Like I said, 2, 3 just really stood out to me. This one because of the action specifically and getting a lot of great stuff and like look at these like specifically these last 3 panels of like
Mhm.
Wolverine and this ninja who may or may not be Kitty fighting each other here. And getting more of that like here as well. Then they're getting on the train, and it's just epic action here that is just so well done. Uh, I just love to see it here.
I love
Uh,
the coloring also. The
yeah,
color pops. Like this
yeah,
isn't meant to be like a realistic tone of any kind, and I really appreciate that about it. Like they just went for it.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Also, just like for the special vibe of what you got from the comics back then,
Mhm.
uh, which is cool. But yeah, you get in, and anyway, Wolverine's able to knock off her mask, and is then revealed that it's Kitty, and
Surprise.
surprise, and he gets stabbed because she's mind wiped at the moment. So I did find it interesting how issue 4 opened up here.
Yeah.
And I liked this too. Where it's like, wait, hold on. You're following this random car now, and turns out, oh, it's a really hurt Wolverine. You have Yukio in there. You have Kitty's
Carmen.
father there. Hmm?
I think his name is Carmen.
Is it?
Carmen Pride, yeah.
Okay. Carmen
Or
Pride, Mr.
Carmine.
Pride, Carmine.
It's probably
That,
pronounced Carmine. 'Cause I think Carmen. I think it's Carmine. Yeah. Either way,
that makes sense. Carmine makes sense. But anyway, we see them all here in the car, and saying that Kitty's bound and unconscious. And I like how they do this too, where like they try to like there's this they get out of the car here and a fight breaks loose. And we're seeing the modern fight and the what was happening kind of like they're alternating here. And it was interesting to see. I I think maybe the execution of it maybe is like it takes an extra moment to fully figure it out, but I really like the idea of what was going for and that they took a shot at it. And I
I
liked what they did with it, even though it could have maybe been refined a little bit.
I agree. It's a little clumsy in execution, and it kinda has you like, "What's happening?"
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, it works.
Yeah, it works and it was a cool experiment, I think.
Mhm.
And that's what I appreciate about it is I always appreciate regardless what form of medium of entertainment you are, but any form of entertainment that takes a shot to do something different, even if it doesn't land. It's important to always take that shot to try to do something that's kind of different, even if it's just brief, like these 2 pages.
Mhm.
So,
Also
but
save them some time, I think,
yeah,
completely doing, "Oh, well, here's 3 pages of this fight, here's 3 pages of that fight," plus
yeah,
it's interesting because it's got that shock value when you open the book, and it's like, "Wait
yeah,
a minute," like you said, "We're in this red car, what happened?"
yeah. Well, it's cool too because it's a way to catch you up as what's going on and
Mhm.
what's going on at the same time.
Yep.
And so it's cool. I liked how you did it. I really like that idea. But anyway, after the events of that, Kitty wakes up and she's able to regain enough of herself so she's not like hell bent on killing Wolverine and whoever else. But it's still very apparent here as they get in through the issue of like, oh, the spirit of Ogun is like still within her, and like she's still a threat even though she's broken from it right now. And so we get some nice bits with Wolverine and Kitty here. Another interesting part I found of this too, and we get this like story
Mhm.
of them here, which I do think this is something that I wish we kind of got more of exactly what was going on between. We see this reference with Wolverine knowing Gogun,
Mhm.
and I I don't know. I I feel like it would have been a really interesting like big chapter of his backstory that they could have gone into. Um like, when we think of Wolverine nowadays, right? Like we kind of have a good vague idea of like all of what he was up to, right? Like
Mhm.
even before Weapon X, like his time during the different wars and the secret missions,
Alpha Flight and whatnot.
Alpha Flight. Before that, there's like what's it called, Task Force X or whatever it's called. Anyway, we know this rough history of him, and this is one of those ideas. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard about this,
Mhm.
like as a part of Wolverine's past. But then they didn't really like delve into completely why he knew this Ogun guy, I feel like, and
Yeah, it's one of those things. We had 6 issues, but at
yeah,
the same time, at this point, Wolverine still didn't have, like, a steady backstory. So I
this
feel like
was
it was
still
writer's choice, like, "Hey, what do you wanna do with him?"
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, yeah, it's very obvious as one of those things that maybe as well that Chris Claremont was just setting up. Wolverine's a character that's been around for a long time and has done
Yeah.
several things, but he hasn't figured out exactly what, and you know what? I respect that to not rush something if you're not also sure about it, and
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I still don't. I think Wolverine's origin is always, like, a mystery. Like, even though we have a lot of information about it now, it's like, well, if I wanna read that, I will.
I will say that first Origin miniseries is really good. I did really
Mhm.
like that one, um, but yeah. I agree, though. That was part of the big mystery, though, and part of why when that miniseries was coming out, and I read like the introduction to that series as well. Like it's just interesting because it was such a big, say task goal for them to respect Wolverine and being able to do it. Anyway, this is such a great story. That's something I might have to do a video on here sometime. Um, but anyway, back to Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. Uh, in this though, we're seeing a bunch of this training between Wolverine and Kitty here,
Mhm.
which is nice seeing. And that's essentially what it is it's a bunch of his version of the training montage.
That art
Here,
is so cool, by the way. The shadow art there.
yes, I do really like that. We also get the little link into like what's mainly going on with the X-Men, where Xavier references a couple things that happened, and Wolverine's like, "Yeah, we're here in Japan dealing with our own things. We'll be back once the situation's over," being very
Mhm.
vague about it. I love this. This is one of my favorite art shots, specifically on the right side there. I love
Mhm.
this part. Like, that's just fantastic right there.
It's really pretty. It also reminds me of an episode of X-Men: The Animated Series. I don't know if you would remember it. There's an episode where he goes to Japan and he stands at the edge of a mountain cliff and just yells, "I just want peace," to the sky. I don't remember what exactly the episode was for, but I think it's after Morph dies, or he thinks Morph is dead, and he just takes off to Japan. It's a small thing that always sticks with me, and that's
Yeah.
what this reminded me of.
Trying to remember. I watched all of that leading up to X-Men 97 and I loved it, but I don't remember that moment specifically. But that's cool though. And so yeah. And we get this whole bit too where he was with Kitty, he leaves her
Mhm.
and which forces her to essentially forcing her of where he was intentionally being hard on her so she can overcome this Ogun spirit. And we see like what looks like of like, oh, she's going to assassinate him, and then
That's
she
what I
runs
thought.
off. Yeah, it looks very much like that, right?
It's very
But
suspicious.
yeah, very suspicious. This is also one of my favorite covers of it all as well. Maybe even my favorite one actually of them all. Uh,
Oh, that's good.
but
I don't know. I think I like the other one better, where it's Ogun and Kitty's face
yeah,
and the random ninja. I think I like
yeah,
that one better, but this is a really nice one too.
yeah, yeah. They're both really cool. Definitely
It's
super
creative how
cool.
they kept the split with Wolverine's claw being the middle one.
Yeah, yeah. That's part of the reason why I like it. So, but yes, it is really cool. But we get into this, and seeing all this stuff come up where Kitty's then essentially giving the boss dude there, Raish, as we've been calling him, uh, the main's name is, oh, here it is, Haiji Shigematsu.
Sure.
Sure. Sounds legit, right? Right.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he looks like a Haiji.
uh, Haiji, yes. So, uh, anyway, Kitty gives him a pretty good scare and threatens him, and they go into this whole thing of how she can like, we were talking about this airwalking thing, but then she also does this dance so she can like, slow her fall as well, which is
Mhm.
interesting. And it's funny too because it's just been happening where a police, you know, cruiser helicopter thing is like looking over and it's just like, oh, that's crazy. Well, as you were
When
talking about it was just being fun. It goes right into that
yeah,
like 80s fun vibe, right?
and one of the things I like about this is it's like the first acknowledgement of anyone around them
Yeah.
that there's mutants doing crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't yeah, we got a little bit of that in the first issue, but since then we didn't really get anything else.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, we got more of that and Kitty going off on her own. And I find it interesting too, like that here they're also setting up Kitty very much of being her own character. And it's interesting because initially, and I feel like a lot of people forget about it because it just didn't stick, is she was originally given the name Sprite.
Mhm.
And then she was given the name she's now starting to go by now, Shadow Cat, that the story starts leaning into. But even then, it's one of those things I just find interesting where like none of her names like really seems to stick with her character. First and foremost, people just know her as Kitty.
I think that's the thing. They went. I don't want to say it's an iconic name, but it's just Kitty. But I think they went with that name, and it's like, well, why does she need an alias? Her name is already Kitty. That's kind of unique as it is.
That's true. That's very true.
It's like if Wolverine's name was actually Wolverine. Like, well, we don't need Logan or
Yeah.
James. His name is
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. It's just interesting because there is a part in one of these last two issues, maybe is this one. I don't remember exactly where like it does mention those different names that she had and how she's now this and all that. And so, but yeah, this is what made me think of it. And we get more stuff with Wolverine and Yukio here together. And they're trying to exactly figure out what to do next. Here we get to see Mariko again, so that's cool. Getting to have her back, and everything's starting to come together as Wolverine's like, okay, well, he needs to go do his job here, and make sure, he feels responsible for Kitty, and he's like, I need to make sure this gets finished. And Yukio's like, yeah, I mean, I have my other job too. And so, and we're seeing all these things happen here. That we get this whole assassination attempt here.
The surprise sucker really got me. I thought that was hilarious. I don't know why.
That is funny because it's almost not quite out of nowhere, but like is quite funny though. Yeah, I agree. I really like the action bit here too. More of that solid action. That last panel in particular is really cool there. So, but yeah, really cool is Ogun. He just disappears, and Kitty's trying to escape from him. And
I'm sorry. There's a panel back there that it's unintentionally hilarious to me. It's that one on the right. I don't know if that's Kitty Pryde or Quasimodo. It is the weirdest looking thing.
I could see that. That's funny.
Like, what was going on there, guys?
I see what I didn't think about that till after you said something there. That's funny. But it's interesting here too, because we're also seeing Kitty's being able to access her powers again, which is another important thing. For when she was first getting turned, she couldn't. And thus going into like, oh, she's able to break out of Ogun's control here. And there's just this big chase happening. Ogun does not care who's getting in the way. Yeah. And so it's just this giant chase, which then leads to the big conclusion of, oh, Wolverine's here. I didn't highlight it either, but I also like the different titles for all these too.
I kind of love them, actually.
Yeah, right. I wish I remember what the other ones were for, but since as we can see, like this last issue is called Honor.
One of them is Terror, of course, Honor. One is Courage. I think that's the next one.
Well, the last one's Honor. But yeah, Courage I think was one of them. Yeah, I don't remember all of what they were, but it was cool though. So we get into the last issue here. Big final standoff, and this point it was like, oh, they could have had their opportunity of giving more of that backstory, and they kind of like they do a little bit. Like it's interesting because it's like Wolverine's like, oh, he's such a big teacher, but I just find it interesting, and maybe his point of the story, maybe it'd click with me better if I like reread this eventually later on. But like I just find it interesting, I guess, like, is it just from this one moment of why he's such an important teacher or what? I don't know. I don't know certain parts of these like Asian culture sort of like moments there that's just like different to us.
That too,
yeah. They stand out better in certain ways, and so and a lot of Western media draws from certain aspects of it. So it's just interesting to see like what does and doesn't translate really well. And it's just it's interesting though. But yeah, so anyway, big started the big final fight. Wolverine and Ogun's fighting each other. More excellent action. And yeah, we see their thing. We see Yukio and Shumai. There's his name.
Oh, is it Shumai? Okay.
As they're then fighting each other. And so going back and wrapping up that plot point there. Very action-filled issue. We see Wolverine's a lot on the run. We see him use a gun here at this one point.
That caught me really off guard. Like, you have a lot of powers and you're just using a gun. That's interesting.
And also interesting that Wolverine tried to rush him when he's holding a gun and knows this person is more skilled than him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I didn't think he'd actually shoot, or wasn't expecting." I don't know. And anyway, yeah, he's very nearly is dead here. Um,
That
they
80s
just barely
Wolverine.
escape. Yeah, the '80s Wolverine, love it though. So it's interesting too because like Kitty's also like off running around. Kitty's father goes off to a policeman to, well, we'll get to what that is exactly, but he's going off to the police. And yeah, so anyway, Kitty ends up interfering in the fight because point is Wolverine was trying to run away from Kitty, so she's not involved to try to essentially free her. And I think the intent was sacrificing himself for Kitty.
Yeah, if needed.
Yeah, if needed. And so we get into it, and Wolverine's like, "What are you doing here? I told you to not do this." I love this last couple pages here where, Snicket's, the claws come out. One last duel here, one last fight here as they go against each other here. And there's some really cool action here too, like his sword breaks and a lot of like just weapons and stuff used by Ogun here, and the action here is it's really solid.
It's top notch for what it is, and I think like you see Wolverine go in berserker mode here,
This is
and
crazy.
it's
You
really
do.
cool.
And this is like one of the first times that like they really show Wolverine go into that berserker mode too, which is cool as well. And I love this too. And you see the culmination of that with the claws through the mask, which is like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and at first you're like, because I think your eyes get drawn to that middle panel on the bottom, so you don't notice. Oh wait, he didn't stab him in the face. So you're just like, look at that. And like, oh wait a minute, he didn't stab him, but still, look at that.
Yeah, it really is, especially 100%, because like you just don't think for Marvel to go dark like that, and they don't. But it's a cool thing of like alluding to something like that, which is cool.
Also makes Wolverine a little bit more heroic because he didn't stab him in the head on that one.
Right. But he also does intentionally to test Kitty and being like, all right, here, here's a sword, finish him.
Do your worst, kid.
Do your worst, but she can't. And that was the whole point too of that was like the final challenge to overcome. If it's inside Kitty, if it's Kitty's spirit or Ogun's spirit that really takes control, and Kitty's spirit was able to overcome it throughout all these challenges that Wolverine initially set, and realizing that, deep down as she was trained as an X-Men to never kill, essentially. And that's what she's saying here, but then Wolverine does bring up the good point of, well, you can kill if need be for self-defense, but not when somebody's knocked down like that.
Wolverine's logic.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds legit to me.
Yeah, it works for him.
But I love this too. This is such a cool, like, little final hurrah from Ogun as well, where, they start walking away and he musters the last of his strength, and Wolverine just like phase. And so he cuts Wolverine because his intent was going after Kitty, but then instead goes right through her and only just barely cutting Wolverine. And he is able to reach through Kitty in the same process and stab him in his heart. And it's like, oh, okay. That was like cool. It was a cool final like showdown little moment there, which I thought was really cool.
I don't know if there could have been a better finale to this fight other than that, because it's really cool.
It really was. And yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I agree. It was awesome.
I love it.
For sure. So anyway, they regroup with Kitty's father. See, this is what I'm talking about. Is like you're always seeing like when Wolverine's just chilling, he's always wearing that outfit right down there.
Yeah, I don't think that's a kimono. I don't know what it is. But
yeah,
it's like it's like his healing costume or something, because he's always healing in that.
He's always having it.
It's like the equivalent of Superman's black suit.
Yeah, I don't know. But we learn though that Kitty's father revealed to like all this bad stuff that's wrong with the business. That's why he went to the police. So he was like, the moment I go back to the States, I'm going to be arrested. I mean, he's like, it's, has to condone for my sins, essentially. And then this last page here, well, obviously, ends with Kitty enjoying ice cream, but it's interesting because it talks about like well, is Kitty really herself now? And Wolverine's like, well, sure does seem like it, but she overcame herself, her challenge here. And that's where it ends here.
It's kind of weird because throughout the story, like they say Kitty is 15, but she doesn't seem like it till this panel.
Yeah.
And like her father is silent at this table while they're talking about his daughter's future.
Yeah.
It's so weird, but it works.
Just shows that his father really doesn't know what's going on with Kitty.
He's just there for the ride.
Essentially, he is just there for it all. But yeah, that's and that's where the series ends though. Like we said, I feel like the general impression is pretty solid. I would say it's definitely worth a read, but definitely could have been refined a little bit, but still a pretty good story though.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth a read, especially if you're a Wolverine fan or a Kitty Pryde fan, which I know that she does have a fan base. I think this is a must read for a Kitty Pryde fan because this is kind of like her coming into her own in a way. And there's some solid content, but at the same time, like we talked about, it's 6 issues. I think this could have been done in 4, but if you wanted the 6, cool. Why didn't we have some extra things here and there, like Ogun and Wolverine's backstory, or let's just explain what Ogun does? That would have been nice.
I do agree that I wish we could have gotten like Ogun's backstory because it seemed like there was a nugget place there that could have been really cool, and then we didn't get anything. So, yeah,
he does have a cool death though, so I can't really complain.
That almost makes up for it. Oh yes.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nicely choreographed. Like you could imagine that in a movie or animation, it would kill.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that's a wrap for this review though, unless you have any other bits you want to bring up.
No, I just really enjoy this, and I'm glad you suggested this one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read the sequel now because I'm curious how it matches up.
I am too. I'll get to it sooner than later, but I'm curious about it as well since a year or two ago, Claremont came back and did 5 issues of Wolverine and Kitty Pryde, which is meant to be a direct follow-up to this.
Oh, is it?
It is meant to be, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Maybe Ogun is back and we don't know yet.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it's set between right after the events of what we're seeing here on this final page and before they go back to Xavier's Stool.
Okay, cool.
So it's literally like set all within here. So, but yeah. I am gonna probably give it a read at some point as well. I don't know if I'm going to do it right away, but it's definitely on my long list of crap to read. So
yeah, I'm gonna put on my long list of crap too.
So, but anyway, thank you so much for joining. Where can the people find you at?
Thank you for having me. You guys can follow me on Twitter or X, or like Spencer said, Twix. That works for me. It's that Chris70. I do a bunch of different bullshit. It's all on there.
Excellent. I will make sure I include a link to your profile down below so everyone can go give you a follow there. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. It's great having you on. And that was a great time here on the Dingus Den. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And don't miss when there's more Dingus Den content, such as more reviews, such as currently heavily going on and diving into the Energon universe. As well as doing some other Marvel DC stuff here and there. Is I talked to you about earlier, the Batman Long Halloween comic dub, Valentine's Day episode, which just dropped by the time you all are watching this, and Saturday nights I review Smallville and have some other things that happen here and there. So just make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything, because I'm a maniac with the amount of things I get myself involved into, on top of just normal everyday life. So but anyway, thank you all so much for joining, and I will see you all next time here on the Dingus Den. Later, everyone. Bye.